time, not a long time, because I slept in a little bit and I still got to get to work. So I really don't have a ton of time, but I wanted to pop in for a little time is of the essence rant because it just happened last night. Last night, as I'm filming this, was Super Bowl Sunday. So before we get into it, you know the drill, you know the deal. We gotta take care of the channel maintenance, channel hygiene, channels are Tamagotchis. So if you are new here, welcome to my nonsense. If you're old here, welcome back. Oh geez, if you're new here, please consider hitting subscribe. And if you're old here, go double check, make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like. If you like, leave a comment. It could be anything related to the video. It could just be a hello, a few emojis, whatever, as long as it's cool and respectful. Hit the notification bell. As always, I will link my tip jars down yonder in the description box. No pressure whatsoever, but every dollar or two helps. That is what allows me to continue to make content. Also, you are invited to my Patreon. I know not everybody can come, but you can't say you weren't invited. The link to my Patreon is down below, and I post a lot over there. Most of my rants and stuff are over there, but I also opened up YouTube memberships, and you can join by just clicking the join button below, and that is content that is separate from on here. It is separate from Patreon. It is its own little world. Okay. So, last night, my husband ended up having to work, and I don't think he was too interested in the teams that were playing for the Super Bowl anyway. Neither of them were his teams per se, so he wasn't too upset about having to work. My son had to work too. So there was no Super Bowl on at my house for the first time in many, many years. No complaints over here. I didn't even realize, like, I had totally forgot by the time it rolled around that it was about to come on. And my mom sent a text like, oh, enjoy the game or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, Super Bowl. And I texted her back like, well, I'll be sitting on the couch reading. I actually started, I'm attempting Pride and Prejudice. Pride and Prejudice, I don't know. It's a rough read because I don't read historical fiction, so the writing style, or classics, the writing style is tough for me, but I'm gonna keep pushing. And when I say I was reading, it was already hard because my toddler was bouncing around. Well, he's 4 now, he's not a toddler, but my kid was bouncing around. And, you know, he's at that stage where it's like, Mom, look, and then he'll do like a little jump. And I'm like, cool. If you know, you know. But they do that on repeat. You're like, okay, it's time to play, okay? He was also writing numbers, which I'm so proud of. He's starting to enjoy, like, writing. So he just writes random numbers on sheets of paper, but then he wanted to cut. He's like, I really need to cut these out. I'm like, oh, great. All right. And we have kid scissors now because one time he got into the scissor drawer and tried to cut, and he cut his finger. So we did buy a couple pairs of kid scissors, and he knows those are kid scissors. However, he's left-handed, and it's hard for a left-hander to use regular scissors. Like, they have special scissors. I didn't even realize that, but would you believe I have 3 left-handers in the house? I'm the oddball. My husband, and both my sons are left-handers. Left-hand people. So, it's kind of nice because when I'm showing my son something and it's not working out the way that I do it, they can show him and it clicks better because they're showing him from a left-handed way. So we got a busybody over here. I'm just chilling on the couch, like, you know, mom mode, messy hair, sweatpants, like no bra, slippers, ratty sweatpants at that, you know, like I'm going to sleep in these type of sweatpants. And there are a lot of cars parked because it's Super Bowl Sunday, so there's like cars parked at a couple houses. So people are having their little Super Bowl parties or whatever. Fine. And I can hear car doors shutting and opening and people talking, blah, blah, blah. Okay. what's this? What's this? And this is how people get hurt, you know? So I'm like, let me just look out the window. So I pull back a curtain, and they're like, it looks like kids and teenagers, right? And they see me look out the window, they start trucking, but one of them falls and gets hurt. So he's on the ground. And then like a couple of the bigger ones, because there was like little kids with them too. There was like 7, 8-year-olds, and there was these like preteen, early teens. So my toddler and my dog are like standing by the door. I go outside, and I'm like, what's going on, boys? And the one that fell, and the ones that stayed behind, claim that it was their little brothers goofing around on my front door, knocking or doing whatever they were doing, and that the big ones came to like tell them to stop and to apologize, which I don't know. But you know, I was in teacher mode because these are kids, so I was like, do you think that this is funny? Do you think that this is safe? And they were okay, like they were like, oops, you know? So I'm like, okay, they weren't like disrespectful or jerky about it. And I was like, are you okay? To the one on the ground. And I helped him up. Now, I was like, which house is yours? But they weren't all the ones that lived in the house because they were friends of, like the parents had friends over. And so all the kids were running around, wreaking havoc, you know, while the parents are in there drinking or whatever. Okay, I get it. Kids push boundaries when parents are distracted or whatever. So I'm like, go get your mom. And I wasn't gonna like scream or holler or anything, but actually the book that I've been reading, the Stoic book, I feel so much more comfortable dealing with an issue if I could take a few breaths and like get myself in the zone and still deal with the issue that needs to be dealt with instead of ignoring it, but without going, like without my head popping off. It's like, okay, just go get your mom. And they all like run in the house, and I'm out there for about like a few minutes, and no mom comes. So I'm like, nice. So either they didn't tell her, or she doesn't care. Because if somebody says, go get your mom, I'm gonna, okay, what the heck is going on? And I'm like, and I know they have a Super Bowl party, and I'm over here looking like hell. But I gotta go do what I gotta do. So I grab a coat, and I run over there, and like my toddler and dog are just staring at me out the door. Luckily, my toddler wasn't freaking out, because he was like, are those friends? And I was like, not exactly. They're in some trouble. And I'm like knocking on her door. And the door, one of the kids opens the door. I was like, okay, which one is the mom of the kids that you said are the ones that were doing it? And he's like, and so I can see all these other ladies looking at me like I'm the party ruiner. I'm the Karen or something. And I'm like, so the one lady comes to the door, the homeowner lady, who I've never one time seen. My husband said he has seen her briefly, like from the car to the house. That's it. And I'm like, hi. I was like, they were over there knocking on my door, setting my dogs off, and then running. And she goes, I've addressed it. They won't be back out. And then shuts the door. Okay, there's no reason. Okay, there is reason for me to be upset about that. But like I said, I'm trying to be more stoic. And I was like, okay, so she's miserable. She's not a good parent. She's not a good neighbor. And you can see it all over her face. Like, she is the type of lady that you can just feel I'm so sorry about that. You know, they're out pushing their boundaries or whatever, but we'll have a talk, you know, and it's not gonna happen again. I'm so sorry about that. That's humiliating. But you can't expect everybody to act like you. And I kind of feel bad because the kids were still reachable. Like, yeah, they were out wreaking havoc, you know, being little pests, and it's not safe to do that these days. But, you know, when I was like, guys, this is not okay, they were like, sorry, you know, and if they're being raised by that, I don't see them being level-headed or just personable or reachable for their entire lives. I could be wrong. I have seen the dad just a few times. They don't really mingle with the neighborhood. They don't. Not that I'm kind of like a house to car person too, but I'm a helloer and a quick joke here or there, or a little weather. You know, oh, how you liking this? Whatever. So I get like not mingling with the neighbors, but even their kids don't play with other neighbors, or they hardly do. So you don't really see the parents much, and I know that the kids are like big into sports, so you can see them sometimes grabbing like sports bags and running, but you don't really see them much. Now, I do remember a couple like months ago, there was like a fundraiser or something. I should not be privy to this information, but they're across the street and they decided to have this conversation like right on top of my house because somebody pulled up for like this fundraiser, and they both sounded like aggressive and drunkish, and they talked loudly, and they couldn't have moved it over to their own, in front of their own house or their own yard, and they did this for hours. So that's like the only other reference point I have of the family, and that's not a good one either. But we'll see how it goes. Anyways,